Good evening. We're live.
Yeah, we're live now. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first live session on Ghost Talkers. I'm William Bronson, the founder and team leader for Ghost Talkers. And this is my colleague, lead investigator, Darren Pearson. We've decided to come on this evening, spend a bit of time giving you some information about who we are, what we do, how we go about our investigations.
Hi, Louise. Welcome.
And we're going to explain to you about some of the equipment we use, why we use it, is it legitimate to use it, does it give you 100% accurate feedback when you're doing your investigations. So we'll be talking to you about all the different pieces of equipment we use, and if you've got any questions that you want to ask us about how we investigate, how we go about things, any of the equipment we use, then just ask away and we will give you the answers as we go along. So I decided to form Ghost Talkers. I have been interested in the paranormal since I was a teenager. I experienced my first, as far as I can remember, my first paranormal activity when I was 18. It was in Catterick, which was a big military base at the time. And I had been out for the evening and returning from Richmond, got off a bus at a place called the White Shops, which is a small row of shops in the garrison. It was 11:30 at night, dark, everywhere locked up, and being a military garrison, there wasn't anybody about as such. And I had to walk from the shops up to the house we lived in, which was about half a mile away. As I got off the bus, I decided just to have a quick look in a gentleman's retailers out, that do clothes. And there was a jacket in the window that I was looking at. There was nobody around, and when I was looking at this jacket, I could hear this tapping noise, like somebody tapping a walking stick on the floor. So I turned to my right and had a quick look down the road, and roughly about 50 yards away from me was a chap, a Victorian chap, with the top hat, the cape, the cane, walking stick, which I could hear tapping. So I've looked round to the right, I've seen this person, I've looked back at the window and realised what I've seen, and immediately turned to look back at this figure I'd seen, which now wasn't there. All the shops were shut and locked up. I actually headed down towards where I'd seen this person, and I checked every doorway, and there was literally nowhere this person could have gone at all. And I was amazed. I'd seen something like that, and I've always believed in the paranormal, and why are we alone? Is there a reason? I always believe that there may be, well, there's many reasons, but is there a parallel world that runs alongside us, do different timescales, sort of cross over each other at some point, creating this thing where we see something that we believe is a spirit or a ghost. Now, the thing for me is that whenever we see something that we believe to be a ghost, in the majority of cases, it's not somebody who's passed away recently. We always seem to see figures from the past, whether it be World War II, World War I, Roman soldiers, medieval, knights, things like that, highwaymen. It's always something from a long time ago. And that's not to say that the spirits of people who've passed away recently don't do things to let us know they're there. But for me, it's not really a well-renowned fact that people who've passed away recently are actually able to show themselves in full body apparition. But that doesn't stop that person's spirit being amongst us and trying to communicate with us. So that's my view. But it's just a thought. You know, everybody has their own views on paranormal activity and what causes it and how it comes about. So, you know, never knock anybody. If somebody wants to believe in the paranormal and they have their own views, then, you know, that is absolutely fine. And nobody has any proven facts on why these things happen. And that's what paranormal investigators are looking for. They're looking to show evidence that um, cannot be disproved. So if you can get evidence that nobody can knock, that you know, if you see something in a camera, something happens, like if you watch one of the programs on the telly and something moves, does that camera cover every angle? Does that camera show you every bit of the room where this incident is taking place? More often than not, no, it doesn't. And that's why it can be disproved. It's because if there is any area of doubt when people are providing evidence, then it's there to be not ridiculed, but questioned. So, as investigators, we are seeking to find the ultimate piece of evidence that nobody can disprove, trying to find answers to situations where people believe there is something that they can't explain happening. So, for us at Ghost Talkers, our aim is to help people, families, single people who live, you know, with issues and they can't explain what is happening or why it's happening. It doesn't always mean it's paranormal. Many occasions we go do investigations and we use the word debunk, but the real explanation is we find answers to why these things are happening, and it's not paranormal 90% of the time. And you know, there are some simple solutions, and when people know the cause of these things that are going on, it makes living with them a lot easier, a lot easier. So, as I say, what we're going to do tonight is we are going to just give you some explanation as to what we do, how we do it. We're going to show you some of the equipment that we use, and talk to you about that. Is there anything you want to add?
Well, that's perfect what you've said. We're not a ghost hunting team. We don't do ghost hunts. We are an investigative team. We like to help people find out and discover the reasons why the things that are happening to these people. We set cameras up. We have sound recording equipment. All the things we'll show you in a little while, some of the stuff that we use. And we just want to help. I myself haven't actually seen a ghost or apparition. You catch things out of the corner of your eye. We all do that, I suppose. We hear noises. I mean, there was one incident where I used to live once. One of our neighbours was discussing that she had a ghost in the house that used to talk to a young daughter. Me and my partner was sat around there one night. We were talking about this and another, and we heard footsteps on the ceiling above us. I then asked what that was. They explained that it could be this. I can't remember the name that they had for the spirit that was there, but they were saying that it was this spirit. And I heard whatever it was walk across the ceiling. Now, there was nobody else up there apart from the child in bed. and the child was still in bed. At that point, probably like most people, I escaped the house as quickly as possible. It was quite a few years ago. And I suppose since then, I like to believe that there's something there. Will probably back me up here by saying that I'm definitely a debunker.
Yeah.
I will look into things intensely to find out what is happening and why it is happening, and then explain to whoever it is why I found that conclusion.
That's just to, that's what makes a good investigator. It's about not being ready to just accept the first answer you come up with. It's about ruling out every other possibility along the way, and that's what makes Darren an excellent investigator, because he doesn't give up until he believes he's chased out every reason, every solution to something, until he's happy himself that there is no more questions that he can ask of the situation, and that is what makes a good investigator.
There was that one time, a place in was it Grimsby?
Yeah.
There was that one time, the owner of the house, or the tenant, was having noises and things moving in the room, in his bedroom. We did the investigation, we set cameras up, we had all those equipment set up and this and that, and there was one thing that I couldn't explain. Everything else, more or less, we did find a reason for. But there was one thing that I could not, did not have a reason for it. And still now, we don't know what it was, why it was happening. And that's just the way things go. You know, sometimes we've been to places and nothing's happened at all.
There will be times when we just cannot come up with an answer for something, but we can rule out whether it's paranormal or not. In some respects. So we do our very best. The main thing is that when we're investigating is that we make sure that we leave the family, the people who we're investigating for, feeling somewhat, more relaxed,
at ease,
and at ease about what's going on. Just say hello, Samantha. Thanks for joining us tonight. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask. But yeah, so let's show you some of the types of equipment that we use. Simple thing, first thing, digital thermometer. So you can target something with a laser. Switch that on. So put the hand there, you can just see. So you can target an individual area directly.
So the temperature, like you want it, and I'll put it.
Yeah. So if I press that, Darren's going to put his hand in front of it. If you can. If I point it at the wall, there you go. You can see the temperature moving. So that's specific. You turn the laser off, you can get an average temperature in the area that you're working in.
Ambient temperature.
An ambient temperature. That allows us to see whether there is specific areas where we're working, if there is a major difference in temperature. Usually if a spirit is trying to work amongst you, to come amongst you, you find that the temperature can drop as it's manifesting in a specific area. That's why sometimes when you're watching the programs, other investigators tell you that, they can move the hand out, and where they put the hand is a lot colder than where they're stood. And more often than not, when an investigator is thinking that they're interacting with a spirit being is that they actually get that sensation where they are, if the spirit moves very close to them, of being cold and get the goosebumps and things like that. So, but it's always good to be able to record things like that and be more specific, rather than just put your hand out and say, look, it feels cold. You want to actually be able to verify, look, there's a difference here. So, you get a temperature reading there and a temperature reading somewhere else in the room. You can see and pick out specific cold spots. So that's...
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. So, Darren, if you can, let's take a look at some of the other equipment that we use. Okay. So, this device that I'm holding here, this is a vibration detector. You can have sound on, sound off. So the reason we use this is, obviously, we can place this in any part of a house or area that we're at. If you can hear things like footsteps, banging, hearing it is one thing. This is able to verify that something is creating that sound. So you put it down, you can vary the sensitivity of it, and basically, if you say, look, you can hear people coming up and down the stairs. There's footsteps. You could put this on the stairwell, or the stairs itself. Move away, and you can hear the footsteps, and this will actually be triggered. So you can actually get some verification that there is vibration on them stairs where you're hearing that sound, or a landing, or a cupboard, wherever. These are good for just giving you that identification and confirmation that you're hearing something. And also the cameras that we use will pick that up. If you weren't watching it at the time, you could still have it down and you would get audible sound. So when that's triggered, you know that the vibration detector is actually being activated. So that's a good thing. So we use several of them. They're good. Something you may have seen on quite a few programs, things like Ghost Hunters. They use a device called a K2 meter. So a K2 meter can locate EMF fields. So if you've got electromagnetic fields, which is EMF, a lot of the times things like a telephone mast, a mobile telephone antenna mast, will send out extremely strong EMF fields. In one investigation we did, the house was directly across from a business centre which had quite a few mobile antennas, and the EMF readings were just off the scale. So if you have high EMF, then the people who live with that can feel paranoid, that they're being watched, that something's with them. They get nausea, dizziness, unease, can't sleep. There is so many things that can be triggered by EMF. However, the majority of people suffer from the type of paranoia, and that leads to them thinking that things are in the room with them and a feeling of unease. So from that point of view, we go in, and this is one of the devices we use. And obviously, as you move it towards an electromagnetic field area, possibly a power switch or something like that,
Just try the light switch.
It will, maybe if we can get it on the light switch, we might get that to trigger, although my wiring's pretty good. So if you can see that, do you want to turn the light? Oh, mind, it won't work if we turn the light off, so we'll ignore that one. But if we put it near a phone, let's put it near the phone, see if we can get a, it's on. So if the phone, this is one of the things we have to turn the mobile phones off when we're doing investigations. If you get a text message or it's connecting to the network, it's getting an update, something like a Facebook update, something like that, it will trigger the K2 meter. So when we're on investigations, we will always make sure that our phones are turned off, because we don't want to get any misreadings on this. But your K2 meter, it starts off, you've got the lowest level down here, and then as the field increases, it starts to go up, so it'll go to darker green, it'll go to yellow, it'll go to orange, it'll go to red, and the red is, if I just switch it back on, you'll see it there. You can see all the lights flashing. So the red is the highest EMF field, and obviously the mobile antennas create that. Faulty wiring, old wiring, so you get old wiring looms that come along in houses, and it does cause quite a bit of discomfort for people who live with high EMF. So that is one of the major causes of people thinking that they've got some paranormal activity going on at home, is because they do become paranoid. I'm not saying it's 100% that's the reason, but the majority of times it is. So we always look for high EMF and then find out what is generating that EMF. Recommend that they probably have wiring replaced, or a more modern fuse box put in place, more shielding, because people have a lot of electrical equipment. The more electrical equipment you have switched on in your home at one point, the higher the EMF would be. So that's another device that we use, and you will have seen that in programs like Ghost Hunters and that. The next one we've got, if you give me the ultraviolet. So something very simple is that spirits can use different light levels to show themselves. So sometimes a spirit can manifest, it can be there, you might sense it but can't see it. But if you change the light level, so you went to infrared, ultraviolet, full spectrum, the chances are you may pick something up using different forms of lighting. And other forms of lighting do make it slightly easier to see something like that. So one of the things we use is ultraviolet. So the ultraviolet gives us a different lighting. If Darren turns out the light for me, and we'll just show you. So this is the sort of thing that would be used by CSI, things like crime scene investigators, because it highlights things a lot better, and it's really clear. So using the ultraviolet is a brilliant thing when we're in the corridors and dark places. It's really invaluable. We use that with the full spectrum cameras. We have the infrared cameras as well. So we have all different forms of lighting trying to enable us to seek out answers that we need. So that's another one. Darren will put the light back on. And then next we've got the laser grid pen. Okay. This is the laser grid pen. So using this, it forms a barrier of laser lighting. You can have different patterns, and obviously you can send it from one end of a corridor or one end of a room to the other onto a wall. And I'll show you what this does in a minute. The reason we use this is that if you believe that something is moving at a distance, it doesn't want to come close to you, it's moving at a distance, you can actually get a better understanding of whether there is something there, because you create a wall of laser light, and anything that passes through it would break it. So we'll put this on so that you can probably see. There we go. You can probably see that on my hand. So what we'll do is we'll turn the light off again, and we'll just show you what this does. So there's your laser. So that would transmit from wherever you put this device all the way down, probably up to a good 100 meters. And you can change the pattern. You can have whatever pattern you want. And as you can see, when Darren's moving, you can see the pattern does get broken up. It picks out movement that goes through it. So this is why we use this. It's a lot clearer to the naked eye than it is to a camera picking up that movement. But it is an invaluable piece of equipment, something so small, so simple, but something that we do rely on when we're trying to figure out whether there's movement. So other devices that we have. So show you some cameras. Okay, So this is what we do a lot of our filming with. HD camera, 1080, as used on most TV programs, invaluable. We can use this to do interviews with people who, so we can keep that information as to the problems they had and how we've gone about the investigation. It has full night shot. We do have other infrared lights to back it up for a larger distance, but absolutely invaluable. Love this piece of equipment, and we'll be doing a lot more and putting the videos up on site and also on YouTube with that. Just let me check who these messages are coming through from. So, is this new stuff now? Sammy Kirsty Strother, is this new stuff now? As in new stuff, are we talking about new equipment that we're showing you, or what? Can you just be a bit more specific on that one for us, and we'll give you an answer on that. But thanks for joining us, Sammy. That's brilliant. Ian Stacey, hey guys, how's it going? Really well.
You tell us.
you tell us, yeah. Exactly. I mean, we're enjoying it. This is the first live video session we've done. We want to show you some of the things we use, and talk to you about how we go about some of the investigations. I mean, we will obviously go into more detail. We want to do some more live video, and expand on what we do for you. We're hoping to
just like
yeah.
Sammy, yeah, new equipment. The equipment that we use and what we've got, we're adding to all the time. Some of it's new. The big camera that you've just seen, we've had that for a while now. All these, we have these cameras as well,
So
which are infrared. We set these up on tripods in various positions around the house or building, wherever it is we're at.
So we have 6 of them.
We have 6 of them, which they get fed to a digital recorder, which can record hours of footage.
Yeah.
We have a screen while these are on. We have a screen so we can keep an eye on it. If anything comes up there, we can rewind, go back, and do anything we want to with it.
Yeah, because the thing is about having so many cameras set up is that things can happen in an area where there's a camera set up but there's not an investigator. But when you've got somebody monitoring the screen with all the cameras on, if something does happen, then we can send a member of the team to that area to check things out, which, so we always do that. We do, we're always looking for other equipment that can help us verify the information we're looking for in our investigations. As I said before, it's a matter of we use the equipment. The cameras and the voice recorders are the most important. The other piece of equipment that we use are there to help us in some respects. So if we're hearing a noise, the vibration detectors, can pick up the banging. So the other things that we use is K2 meters, is just to let us know whether there's the high EMF. But the equipment we use that we rely upon the most are the cameras, obviously the investigators, because what they see and what they hear is the most important, but the cameras and the digital recorders. The digital recorders are things that pick up EVP. So if a spirit's trying to communicate with you, there will be times when you actually hear something physically and you've heard it, and you can go back on your digital recorders or your video recorders and you can actually verify what you've heard, which is great. But there will be times when you're doing an investigation and you ask questions, you don't hear a response. However, when you review all your footage and your tapes, you will occasionally hear a response, which is EVP, electric voice phenomena. And that's where a spirit is able to use the electric device and able to communicate in some way to the person that's asking the question or other individuals who are there on the investigation. So that is very, very important to us. So let me show you.
Sammy again.
Yep.
Just commented there that everything's calmed down at her house since we were last there.
Fantastic.
That's good to hear.
Fantastic, brilliant. That's
Great. That's what we go for. That's what we're here for.
that's really good to know.
If we've been and put your mind at rest and everything's calmed down, that's brilliant.
That's what it's about, isn't it?
And I mean, everything that we do is free as well. Just like to point that out to everybody. We don't charge.
Not even for fuel.
Not even for petrol money or anything like that.
There's only one thing that we ever ask for when we're on an investigation. That's tea and coffee. If you can keep us fueled with tea and coffee, we're well happy.
Biscuits and sandwiches, great, fantastic. anything
there is
like that.
But there's no monetary cost. We don't charge. No matter where you live in the UK, we'll come to you and do it free of charge. We do not charge.
This is a hobby for us, and we enjoy doing it.
It's what we do, and
we're just here to help.
You know, we're not interested in faking anything. We're not interested in making fortunes from it. We're interested in helping people. That is the be all and end all. You know, we don't do ghost hunts and ghost tours, and we don't look to make money. There are places that do charge for ghost hunting. So, you know, if you wanted to take a team of people to go ghost hunting, say at Army Mills, £650 a night. Is there any spirits there? Who knows? But to charge people to look for spirits, for me, is wrong, because you can't switch the paranormal, the spirit world on and off. You can't just make them perform. They're
not puppets.
They were people who maybe don't realise they've passed away, or people who don't want to move on to the next life because they still have something they want to pass on, a message or something. And there'll be others that just don't want to move on. They just, you know, they love their life so much they don't want to leave it behind.
As far as they're concerned, they're just carrying on living their life as it was.
Exactly.
You know, like William said earlier, is there a spirit world? Or is there just a rift in time?
Yeah.
Like he's mentioned, all the sightings and everything that we read about and hear about, they're all about oldie worldy type things that have gone on.
It's always from
like World War II and places, you know, from years gone by.
It is.
You'd never hear anybody going on about, I saw Joe Bloggs down the street who passed away last week.
Yeah.
You know, you don't hear anything like that. So is there a rift in time? I mean, that's a scientific thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole investigation of the spirit world or anything like that is a scientific thing, and that's what we like to do. You know, investigate. If we don't find anything, we're honest. We will tell you. We will explain why maybe we haven't found anything.
And it doesn't mean to say that you're not experiencing something.
Doesn't say that we don't believe you.
It could be that you are experiencing things, but when strangers come into your home, the spirits don't want to show themselves or interact with you. You know, sometimes a spirit is attached to an individual or an item. It could be residual, where it just replays over and over again. It's like a recording in time. It just replays over and over again. Or it could be an interactive spirit, which is able to interact with people and things and move objects to let you know that they're there. Basically, that's it. But you bring a stranger into your home, that spirit thinks, well, I'm not here to perform. So, you know, you cannot make something happen. It will or it won't. And that is it. So when we go to people's homes, if they've been experiencing something, we look for the answers. If we can find the answers, then we give it. But if we don't find anything, it doesn't mean to say that person hasn't experienced something. It just means to say that we couldn't find any spirit activity, anything paranormal while we were there. But we will always be willing to come back another time. So, you know, we don't dismiss anybody and we don't ridicule anybody. Just looking at some of the messages.
Simon Stewart.
Simon Stewart.
Yeah. That's great. That's exactly the same thing as what we do, Simon.
Does his work and likes his tea and coffee.
Yeah.
And that's all we need, tea and coffee.
Yeah.
It helps to keep you awake, especially when you're on long investigations.
It's the early hours of the morning. Yeah.
And also Sam Howarth.
And hello to Peter Wilson as well.
Yeah, Peter.
Thank you for joining.
Sam Howarth has asked, have you ever found anything which you believe to be, as they say, from the other side?
Right.
That is a difficult one. Obviously, I've seen a full body apparition. I've actually lived in a property that was haunted for 4 years. I can tell you a bit more about that at a later time. But just a few of the things during investigation. So one we had when investigators left a room, after about a minute, the camera decided it was going to move itself, and everybody was 2 floors down. And on another investigation, when one of the investigators mentioned about feeling as though they were going mad, the voice recorder actually picked up quite an evil, mischievous laugh that nobody heard at the time. So we do get things that you know that we can pick up on. I think we went to Taunton Battlefield.
Yep. And
we were doing an investigation. It was a really windy, blustery night, so it was quite difficult conditions for EVPs and things like that. But at one point during the investigation, we were using like a spirit box, which we'll show you soon. So the spirit box scans the frequencies, AM and FM, and spirits are supposed to be able to use that white noise as it's scanning to generate the ability to communicate with us by talking. So it's probably just answering like 1-2 question answers. That's it. And while we were doing the investigation, we asked if there was anybody with us, and we got a name, Wendell. So obviously we didn't know what that was, but when we researched it at a later date, we found that, I think it was you came up with this, it was the chap called Wendell who fought at the Battle of Taunton, which was the War of the Roses. And he was banished after the battle. He was banished from the kingdom. And they've now, you know, can we verify that in any way? No, we didn't know. We were surprised, and obviously it was only when we Googled it we came up with this answer. So there are things that do surprise us all the time.
Then there was the same place in Taunton Battlefield.
Yeah.
There was the part where 3 of us were talking.
Yeah. Or the gunfire.
It was a battle cry.
There's battle cry.
It sounded like a battle cry.
And I think it was
three of us were talking, and all of a sudden 2 of us looked at each other as though to say, "Did you hear that as much as I did?"
Anton thought he'd heard a cannon.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's just things, you know.
They're
the things that we can't explain.
And even though we find things, can we prove it's paranormal? And that's a difficult thing. If people could prove paranormal, then there'd be no need to have all these investigators constantly. We know it exists and we just accept it. But there are a lot of people who doubt paranormal world, just as they doubt UFOs and other things. From our point of view, we are constantly looking to be able to verify that the spirit world does exist and have definite proof of it. So just let me have a look, see how many other people are asking questions. So I try not to miss anybody out. Peter Wilson, hi Peter, thanks for joining us. Don't think, just have a quick look. Kitney, Louise, Ian, I don't think we've missed any. Graham asking what's this? What's this about, Graham?
This about?
Basically,
I think we've answered it.
Yeah, we answered.
Louise answered sort of.
Fantastic.
Down.
Thanks, Louise.
Yeah.
So we're a group of paranormal investigators that have been going for a few years, and we decided that we were going to do some live events on a Facebook group, and we will probably consider going on our YouTube account and doing a live video link on there to the world. But we're also looking at the possibility of streaming live some of our investigations. Now, that does depend on the people who we are doing the investigation for, because we respect everybody's privacy. Sometimes when we do investigations, we're not able to put things up because we're being asked to by people who have contacted us, and that's fair enough. You know, we respect everybody's privacy. But it is good when we're able to be able to feed, you know, what we found back to the people who've on our group, and you know, we'll continue to do that. But we want to expand and do a bit more. And as I say, we don't do the ghost hunts or anything like that, ghost tours. It's just private investigations and that we do, and we do enjoy it. So let me just show you some more equipment. So this here is one of the cameras, small cameras, that the handheld device that. This is what our investigators can carry around with them. This is infrared, but it's also full spectrum. And as I said to you before, the different light levels give us the ability to maybe pick up on things that normal eye wouldn't see. So this is a great thing, a great device that we use. It's lightweight, it's compact. We have tons of batteries for it, so it keeps going for hours. You know, so that's invaluable. We use that. Other bits of equipment that we've got. Oh, Darren's got one of our new.
Sam was asking about new equipment.
Yeah. So this is something that you will probably have seen on the paranormal shows on telly, and this is a REM pod. So this is a radiating electrical manipulator pod. So what this does is it generates an EMF field. So where the K2 meter searches for detects them. So this will detect when you're in the area. This one here generates an EMF field. I'll switch this on so you can see that lighting up. And basically, again, we put this down. You can put this down somewhere in a room, landing, you know, anywhere you want. And basically, two things this will do. It will look for temperature changes, and when you get temperature changes, you will get a beep. We'll switch that on. So there's a red light in the front here that tells you when there's a temperature change. If anything approaches the REM pod, it interferes with the EMF field that's being generated by it, and it starts to light up. And the stronger the force that comes near it, the more noise this will make, the more lights it will generate. But again, can we be 100% sure? No, but it's good to try different things. If we could catch video footage of something approaching it, then that would be 100% proof. But at the moment,
wherever we put this, we would set a camera up monitoring it.
Yeah.
So like William said, if anything, if we can capture anything, if it does light up and the camera catches anything going anywhere near it, then we'll have some evidence to look at.
Yeah. But we never take every piece of equipment we use as you know, if that triggers, it's 100% paranormal. That's not how we do it. We just use these bits of equipment to aid us to come to conclusions and try and put all that information together. So
the cameras are the most important,
of course, and the digital recorders, because and the investigators. Without the investigators, you know, they're the people who come to the conclusions and look for every avenue to resolving the issues and finding explanations for things. So they're the three things. Everything else is just a small aid to try and help us in what we're trying to achieve. Just want to say to Daryl Brand, hi Daryl, thanks for tuning in tonight. It's nice that people have been able to come and join us on this first live video event. So what else have we got? We got anything else to show?
Well, I was just going to ask you if Peter or Daryl or anybody else really that's watching, if you've got any questions, just type them in and we'll try and answer.
Any questions?
No.
Any questions at all? That's what we're here for.
There's the
we haven't done the digital recorders.
Right, yeah.
We'll do the digital. There's 3 there down. Okay. So basically, as I mentioned to you all before, the most important piece of equipment are the cameras and the digital recorders. So we have several digital recorders. Darren has got the Pista Resistance. This is a Zoom HN4. This is 360-degree recorder. It is sensitive. It could probably hear, and just excuse this, probably an ant fart from 100 yards away. It's so sensitive. So this one, you will have seen this on Ghost Hunters. I think it's Ghost Adventures with Zach, I think it is. They use this piece of equipment. This is a really expensive piece of equipment.
Very sensitive.
It is sensitive, and you know, I wouldn't want to be without that. That is a tremendous piece of equipment. But also, when we're sort of sending people off in every different directions, we have other digital recorders, like a small handheld Panasonic device, just as good. A small digital recorder, which is really lightweight, and it's about 6 hours charge. You charge the USB, but brilliant. You know, hook it up to the computer, transfer everything across, and you can listen to everything. They all work fine, you know, but the Zoom H4n is really the top-notch one. You know, musicians would use that for recording if they wanted to. So we do depend on them, and this is, you know, for us, finding information, EVP information, getting some responses on digital recorders is really exciting. That's what we look for. So that's that. Next, what else have we got? The spirit box. Now, there is what we call a spirit box. Is as I said to you before, it's a piece of equipment that scans the frequencies, and you can change the scan rate and change, you know, the frequency you're scanning on. Just put the speaker on. I'll just show you this. I'll put this on. Get the backlight on. And I'll put that works. Bear with me a minute. Let's just double check this. There we go. Right. So basically, Spirit Box, it will scan the frequency. You can go forward and backwards. These have been used on programs on telly as well. Now, I'm not 100% sure on this, but as I say, we did use this when we were at Towton Barfield, and we did get a response, and we found information. That
got a name called out.
Yeah, what backed it. So I put the backlight on, and then if we do a sweep, and I'll show you, just turn it up a bit, and if you can hear that, I'm just putting it in front of the microphone.
Right.
So you can hear that it's scanning, and you can ask questions. So we might ask, you know, is a spirit with us this evening while we're doing this? And you might get responses. So we do tend to use this occasionally, but as you can see, I'll just put that there. So basically this will scan the airwaves. I can change the scan rate and the frequency it's on, and we use this. And is it 100%? Well, I can't guarantee that, obviously. And some people do like using them and others don't. It's just something we try. And if it generates a result that we are happy with when we've looked into it, then we may use that in our investigation. But again, you know, for us, it's, as I say, cameras, video evidence is fantastic. If you don't leave anything to be disproved, as in the area you're covering, that's the main thing. You need to, if you pick up something you need to be able to see the whole thing. It leaves out any doubt. And the reason I say that is because there are programs on telly that actually say something paranormal's happened, but the camera is only covering a part of what they're saying has moved. So you can't rule out that somebody is out of camera making that thing move. So, so it's important when you're providing evidence that if something has moved, that you're open and honest and say, we didn't get the whole thing in, but, as far as we're concerned, we didn't interact to make that move. It did it on its own, but we can't give 100% proof of that because obviously our camera angle hasn't allowed us to do that. And sometimes when you're doing investigations, things happen off camera. So you can be somewhere else with a camera and something will happen, behind you or in another room, which you haven't got a camera or a recorder. So spirits aren't daft. They know, they can make you aware they're there and they know what you're doing. So then they aren't daft. And so you can't just make them perform. So that is really important to know. Just looking to see if anybody else was asking us any questions. So is there anything else that we've missed out tonight? I don't think we have. We've covered everything tonight.
Covered most everything that we've got.
We do have other things that we'll try and use. But if you want to try doing something, the one thing I will say is never ever use a Ouija board, because you can open a portal to the spirit world that any spirit can come in, whether it's friendly or demonic. So you never ever mess with a Ouija board. They're not toys. They are not toys, so never use them. But you can do other things. So you can get a digital recorder, and you can, if you think something's happening where you are, you think that you may have a spirit that's moving amongst you in your home or where you work, there's nothing to stop you using a digital recorder and asking questions and then listening to it later and see if you've got an answer and any feedback. It's not daft. It's something very simple that you can actually do. So yeah, as far as we're concerned, we try everything we can to come up with answers. So the more things we can use to try and find out the answers we need to know, the better. So yeah, we think we'll do another one of these maybe in a few weeks, and we are doing an investigation in, is it Grimsby, early February? Grimsby.
We've got Grimsby early Feb. We also have another contact to organise,
which is in Leeds.
Leeds.
So there's that, and hopefully we'll be able to come back to you and discuss any findings that we've got at them properties. So Rosanna Frost. So okay, I don't know if I heard right, but did you say when somebody passes it over, they carry on with their daily routine? For example, get up, take breakfast, join the rush hour, and wonder why no one speaks. I've read of this. Suffice to say, they walk amongst us 24/7, and like you say, it's never Joe Bloggs down the road. It's passed away last week. So was spirits from years back. Your thoughts on Joe Bloggs? Well, yeah. Thank you, Rosanna Frost. That's a good question. I mean, I did sort of go into this slightly. Is that my own view is that when somebody passes away,
sometimes they don't know.
Sometimes they don't know.
Oh, spirit doesn't know.
Or they don't want to pass on because either they love their life too much here and don't want to move on, or they don't want to move on because they want to pass a message on, maybe to a family member, or they want to make sure somebody finds something, or it could be anything. Take for instance, it could be where they've put their will, or where they've left a ring or a necklace or something like that. It could be anything, but they don't want to pass on because of that. Now, I believe, this is my belief, is that spirits can't just, so if somebody passes away today, they can't manifest, next week. They can't come back. I think a spirit has to build up its knowledge and its power of how to show itself and how to communicate. And I believe that's one of the reasons that they can move things, but you can't see them. They can probably talk, and you can pick it up on a digital recorder, but can't physically hear them. They're able to do that, but they gain knowledge and the ability to manifest partly or as a full body apparition as time goes on, and the ability to actually be heard physically rather than using a digital recorder as time goes on. So maybe that's one of the reasons why we see full body apparitions from people, you know, so many years back. So World War II, World War One.
Or is it because of what we mentioned as well about the time rift? Is it going to be a case of, because we don't see anybody that's passed away a month ago?
Yeah.
How do we know that somebody 100, 200 years in the future, because of time and the way things are, is it because of the way the Earth revolves? Or
Yeah, there's. I think there is. You're right. There is.
You know,
we can't.
We're seeing things from like World War II, World War One, or older than that. Maybe in another 100 years' time, like I said, people will start seeing things from this year, this decade.
Exactly. So, yeah, there's so many things we can't explain, and there are
things
so
like
many.
that we won't be able to. Really.
No, and there are so many theories. Yeah. So it's very, very difficult. So yeah, very hard to give you an answer other than my own belief is that if somebody passed away today, it doesn't mean to say they're not with us day in and day out, although we can't see them. They may still be able to perhaps make you aware that there is something happening, something going on, whether it's to move objects, hide objects, something of that nature. But whether you would be able to see them immediately or hear them immediately, I don't think that would happen. And I think they need to gain the knowledge and strength as a spirit being.
Build up their energy.
Yeah, build up their energy.
That's if they want to.
And some spirits do use. Yeah, some spirits do use energy. So they will drain batteries. They will pull energy from things to be able to do something that they want to do to make you aware they're there. But eventually they will get strong enough that they can manifest and show themselves. And the stronger the spirit, so if it was a demonic spirit, they would be very apt because they are so strong, so that they would be able to manifest. They would be able to throw and hurl things at you. They would be able to, you know, create an environment that, you know, that suits them. And obviously, because that generates fear, they're able to take that energy, negative energy, and make themselves stronger. Whereas a friendly spirit wouldn't do that. So it's more difficult for that friendly spirit, and it has to learn over time how it can, you know, interact with you and how it can do things with you and perhaps show you that it's there. So it's a very good question. And I think you find that there'll be many people have many different theories on that. But obviously, you know, we've told you what we think tonight, and you know that's our belief. So, but thank you ever so much for that question. That was really good.
I hope we got the answer you were after.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, I think, you know, we've enjoyed this evening, and we will set another date to do another one and go through some other things. I mean, I'd like to tell you about the haunted property that I lived in and the experiences I had growing up while that was happening, which was interesting. But I say all these things in my life what led me to get this group together and seek out further answers and help people who are going through similar things.
Will is the believer. I am the skeptic.
He's a skeptic, so he asked 1,001 questions, just not the right ones.
I'd like to find proof that there's something there, and that's why, you know, we do I like doing the investigation.
And that's what makes us good, is because we have different viewpoints at looking at things. So I'll ask a question in one way, and Darren will challenge that and ask that same question a different way and come up with, you know, another way of looking at it, so that we get a better picture of what we're doing. So, you know, it's no good everybody just agreeing. If I say, oh, I've seen a ghost, nobody goes, oh, yeah. You know, you need people to say, are you sure you saw a ghost? It wasn't a reflection off that window or that mirror, or, you know, this is what it's all about.
And thank you for that, Roseanne.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, we are honest, and we want to be honest.
Yeah.
Like we said earlier in the video, we don't fabricate things.
No, we could talk about programs on telly.
Yeah,
fabricating.
Anybody can do that.
And we might actually do that on our next video link. Just go into one or two things that do happen, and that do put a bit of a mockery on the paranormal world. Just for entertainment purposes, which, you know, is not very good. But we'll leave that tonight. Just like to thank everybody for joining us. You know, I've enjoyed it. I'm sure Darren has. He'll probably tell you now. But thank you very much for joining us this evening. And we look forward to doing...
It's been good. I've enjoyed it.
It is. We look forward to doing another live video event in the near future. And like I say, hopefully...
Roseanne again, programs on telly. Yes, exactly the point.
Yeah. We'll go into that on the next one.
Yeah, we'll do that on
the
next one, yeah.
But yeah, we've enjoyed it, and we'll set a date to do another one. And obviously, hopefully, we'll be able to bring you some information on a couple of investigations that we've got lined up, how we've gone on with them, and maybe put that evidence up so you can have a look at it first, and then you can have a chat to us about your viewpoints on that. So that'd be really interesting.
Thank you, Stefan.
Yep, thank you ever so much. Brilliant stuff. We look forward to seeing you all next time. We've really enjoyed it. So have a good evening, everybody. You can continue to give feedback on this video. You can watch it again later on. It'll be ready to view in a short while. But many thanks to everybody for giving us questions.
One last thing. If there is any of our members or any members know anybody that's having
any paranormal activity,
happening, if it's paranormal or what, any problems that they've got, please feel free to get in touch, and we will come and investigate for you free of charge.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Have a good evening. It's been brilliant chatting to you all. Take care. Bye bye.